So I was just saying, well,
That's changed. And I don't really care about the day. Next week I'm getting my locks retwisted on Thursday.
yeah, I don't really care about the day either. It's just that most people want weekends off. But since I was working 2 full-time jobs, I took all of those preconceived notions out of my head. And I was just hustling to get that bread.
Right.
Because I can't really, if you got 2 full-time jobs, you can't even really call it. It was a miracle that every once in a while I would get weekends off where I would call Blossom to come over to my house and she would spend the weekend with me in 95 Riverdale from Friday night to like Sunday evening. That was fun. You know, had her walking around naked for a whole weekend. And you know, I would just, she would like come in because, you know, I would buy her pack of Newports. You know, she's not used to, you know, guys like buying Chinese food and stuff for us to eat. But even sometimes she was there and I would work the weekends, but I would be working nights, so I would just leave out at night, come in the morning with food from the restaurant, grits and eggs. I would just, before I leave out at night to go to work, I would say to her, don't do anything stupid. And she would say, okay. And she would just sleep while I was working.
Oh, there's some fun shit at my job that I've yet to speak to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what she needs. I'm glad you mentioned that about Blossom, because sometimes, well, you never know what a woman needs unless you ask her.
Yeah. And plus I know you because you and I have spoke about this, that you have to be careful when it comes to working with and kind of seeing a girl, like seeing a girl that you work with. You have to be careful with that. Because there was a lot of girls I wanted to talk to, but I said to myself, I know that's not a good idea. I know that you're blurring the lines, you know?
Between business and pleasure, for sure.
Yeah. And there's always going to be a time when if you're seeing a girl where it's not always going to be sugar and honey. You all might be arguing, you all might have broke up,
Right.
and you got to go in there and you got to see her every day, you know, no matter how fine she is. So that's the reason why I tried to avoid, even though I wanted to, you know, because you see some girls, you be like, oh my God, oof, boy, she's fine. That's all I need is somebody like her somebody that looks like her. That's all I need. I'd be straight. But I'm just careful. You know, so a lot of girls, I would maybe kind of flirt, or if anything, because I told you I'm not good with women, never been. If anything, I would just wave to them, show them attention, but not really. I never really had too many relationships. And the one girl that I had a relationship with, not even a relationship, but she would come to my house when I worked at Liquor Watts. this girl named Karen Simmons. And the only reason why I spoke to her is because she worked in the main building and used to work in the cottages over the weekend to make extra money. So I knew that for the most part, she worked in the main building. She didn't even work in my area, in the cottages. That's the reason why I met her in the first place, because she used to come to my, and then everybody used to come to my cottage to sign in. That's where the sign-in sheet was for all the cottages, my cottage. So, you know, that's where I got a chance to talk to her and kind of flirt with her, and, you know. And before you know it, you know, she ended up coming to my house in not 95. That's before I moved to 95, which is 39 Jackson Street. Ches and his father was my landlord. That's the first apartment I had where I moved out from my mother and had my own apartment. And I was 29. I was 29 years old. And the only reason why I moved out is because Tanky talked me into it. He gave a long fucking speech about, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make that move. Because a lot of people, they don't make that move. Lindsay, he never moved out from his parents. He stayed with his mother when he was like, you know, like in his 50s. We used to hang out with some girls, and Lindsay be like flirting with them, and one of the girls one time said, yo, Lindsay, you still live with your mother? Like, you know, I was like, oh, I know what that means. Yeah. Girls look at everything when it comes to a guy. They look at his hygiene, they look at how he dresses, they look at his teeth, they look at his feet, you know, what kind of sneakers he got on, is his sneakers dirty? Do the guy have a car? What kind of car he drives? Does he still live with his mother? You know, girls look at all of that, man. They have a keen eye for that shit. As we can see in the Gold Digger prank videos. They come running back. Oh, this guy gets into a Lamborghini SUV. Pew! And I love the guys' reactions. I love the guys when they go, no, I thought you just said that you had a husband. You said that you wasn't interested. Well, now I lost interest. I love that the guys do that shit. I like that shit. I like that the guys don't cave, you know? They're like, yo, what made you want to come back now that you see my car? You wouldn't even shake my hand before. I like that shit. Sometimes you got to be unwavering. You don't have to be mean. But I love those videos.
Ray Dalio shared something, shared like a timeline of life, and it went from the beginning to when you move out, to when you get higher education, to when you start your own business, to when your business fails, you lose everything, to when you start another business, and then that fails, and then you start another business, and then that succeeds, and then you get married, then you have kids, and then you get divorced, and then you get remarried, and then you die, and you know, leave your kids and your wife. I just found it interesting. So as I was going through, it was on Instagram, it was a carousel. So I was going through it, and I was wondering, I'm like, okay, well, it says get married. I was wondering if getting divorced was in there. at this point, it's
So
kind
that's
of like,
something you can't anticipate.
right. But I'm glad that was in there. Because I'd rather anticipate it. I'm sure Donald Trump.
No, it's
didn't
good.
expect-
It's good that you think like that.
Yeah, it's like, so Donald Trump didn't anticipate getting divorced, I assume. And now he's
Right.
one of the biggest advocates for a prenup. And so, if
There
I
you go.
anticipate it, now I'm more prepared to
To a
find
prenup.
a woman who will agree to that prenup. Yeah.
Right. And if she doesn't, there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
And a guy who won't do the prenup because he doesn't want to piss his girl off, I have a problem with that too. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why I will anticipate stuff, because I know how to think so far advance in the future with the what if isms, is that I say to myself, I don't want to regret this. And I already see that just in case this turns out to be a disaster, I don't want to have to say to myself, I know I should have did that. I know I didn't. Then just do it. I knew I should have got a prenup. Come on, man. Shit. Yeah, I'll get a prenup, but it'll be like if I'm worth $100 million, and the prenup is, if we break up, you get $1 million, which even that, like a lot of times, a girl, she'll get mad at you one time because everybody, all couples have arguments. If she gets mad at you one time, she'll be like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, nigga, and I want my $1 million. She'll be like straight up about it and shit.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, there's a very simple prenup, the way that you would expect it to be. Okay, if we get divorced, what's mine is mine, and yours is yours. What's ours is ours. If you split it 50-50.
Right.
It's like, why?
And a lot of times girls, they get the house and stuff like that.
It's like, why isn't that the baseline? Why is it, 50-50 even though I built this shit?
Right.
No, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours.
But the judge looks at it like, was she with you when you were broke? Judges consider that aspect too. Because then that's almost like she was there with you when you didn't have anything. So they almost look at it like, well, that means that she actually helped you, if she might not have, Well, you might have just bust your ass and been good at what you did and made a lot of money and grew, But judges look at that. Was she with you when you was broke? Because any woman that gets with a man who's already like a multimillionaire, a lot of times he's gonna have a prenup anyway, because he's gonna have things in place like accountants, But if a girl has been with you while you were broke, judges consider that a lot. Because the judge is saying, well, she's been with you from the beginning. And almost look at it like she helped you build your empire because she was there with you, holding it down, at least while you were building your empire. That type of thing.
I can understand it. My goal in any relationship is if it ends, that person is a better person than when we started.
Right. So, whether directly and or indirectly, she added to the whole process. And then don't even have kids because the judge is like, oh, well, while you was out making your millions, she was home taking care of the home and the kids and holding it down at home while you was out, so.
No, sir, she was out drinking and cheating on me. I got a babysitter.
Yeah. Like 50 Cent went through that. He blew up. And he had to give his girl, his wife, child support. And his wife was saying stuff like, you should buy your son 50 pairs of sneakers, to represent 50 Cent. She said 50 pairs of sneakers. And 50 was, because they showed the call. 50 was like, oh, so I'm supposed to buy him, because you gotta admit 50 pairs of sneakers is ridiculous. Maybe not for a rich guy who collects sneakers like Fat Joe, but for a female to say, you should buy your son 50 pairs of sneakers, like what? That shit is, to me, pocket watching. You rich now, nigga. Buy your son 50 pairs of sneakers. That type of shit. You be like, what?
How are you doing after paying the lights?
Well, I ain't got no bread. Your mom says that when she comes here, when she gets off on Monday at 12, she's going to come straight here. Because for some reason she can't put her money that she has on some kind of account. She tried to put it on the Cash App, and she would have sent me some money, but the Cash App denied it. Plus, she'd be overdrawn with her Cash App, because in some ways she uses her Cash App like a bank. So, and I'm not going to get on her for that, because I'd be overdrawn on my bank account too. So, but I'm just saying that she said on Monday she's going to give me that 100 back that I sent to Shy. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good thing, because I kind of regretted that shit. I don't mind sending Shy some money. Me and Shy's dumb cool, but again, man, I don't want to be sending no money to nobody that's fucking smoking my shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind like niggas on the street when I give somebody $1 because they opened up the door for me, because they was standing outside the store and they opened up the door for me when I went out, and I give them $1. I don't mind that shit right there. I don't mind. But I sent Shy $100 that I really didn't have.
Is your bank account overdrawn?
Right now, yes.
How much?
And I did that too. Again, you know how me and broke don't get along. So if I'm broke and my bank is willing to give me $100, just straight up, like, yo. But again, I do plan on, like you said, because of course you made a lot of sense when you said, don't keep paying those $34 late fees and shit like that. Because with the bank, again, if I'm paying $4.99 for one of my streaming services, and once that $44.99 comes out, and the bank is going to charge me $34 late fee. Then $5.99 for another streaming service, boom, another $34. So, you know, sometimes by the time I get my mom's check, there be money that comes out of that shit where I don't see that whole, you know, because my mom's check is $879.
I'm looking for the sponges. I'm gonna check if we got more.
Like gauze?
Up front, yeah.
Yeah, I think we still have some, but I don't know what your mother did with them. No.
Nah.
Did you look in here?
A little bit. You cop some from Walgreens.
Yeah. I actually think we should still have some more. We had a pack when your mom's was here. But again, when you if you have to like take one of these wraps and open it up and cut a piece off to make a gauze, and just remember, you know, so you can use that the next time. We can do that. You know, we can improvise. But again, if you see like a cute girl that works at your job, right? Like fine as fuck, where you be like, oh my god, oh, you know, you'd be like, oh my god, imagine if I had a wife that was that fucking fine. But it's fine because you gotta meet somebody somewhere. You know, I've always had organic relationships where I met somebody somewhere, as opposed to, you know, like you know the gold digger guys, they know how to talk to a girl on the street. How you doing? You look good. You beautiful. Blase blase. I just seen you. You know, I just moved in the neighborhood. Blase blase. And I told you I've never been good at that. Anyway.
So I hear where you're coming from, but I think that the gold digger guys, don't know how to talk to women. In fact, perhaps they do, but I think when they're creating content, they're incentivized to be a little weird, a little quirky.
Yeah, I get that, but a lot of times when the girl
to get the girl to reject them, so that they can.
Nah, they be trying to fucking talk to the girl because they be like, oh man, she look good. I'm definitely not talking to her.
I only say that because I've studied pickup artists where that's their lifestyle.
Right.
And they actually learn skills based on psychology.
Right.
To get women.
Right.
And they're extremely successful at it. And
right.
I've seen them do incredible things, and of course without a Lamborghini, without a Corvette.
Right. And there's guys again that, because I've always been a good-looking guy. You're a good-looking guy, and there are ugly motherfuckers that get fine girls. Why? Because they had nothing to lose. They'll talk to 1,000 girls a day.
Yeah.
All you need to do is just get one.
100%. Yeah. So, my suggestion is I anticipated shit hitting the fan.
Yeah.
My suggestion is to update that chase. Update that chase
Right.
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
In
So
fact,
I don't have overdraft. The reason why I do like overdraft, and I shouldn't be taking money out of it like that. The only reason why I like overdraft is because, like the other day, my phone got cut off. I was going to call you, but I was able to go to my overdraft and get the $73 out to put my phone back on. You know what I'm saying? Because Boost Mobile, my phone got cut off. So it's just like things like that, which is an emergency. It's just that at the end of the day, it's all about managing your money well. On top of, I can factor in, and you mentioned this, the money that we had in the stash for in case we got a bounce. If I can do that in a crisis situation, I should be able to do that naturally. You know what I'm saying? To get myself to a point where I don't have to go into my crypto, because I be going into my crypto too. You know what I'm saying? And look how that shit built up to 9K. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what that shit would be right now, even though I don't want to be like, again, what if isms. But, because that's spilled milk. Water under the bridge.
I'm sure every investor does that. But the crypto.
The strong investors keep it moving.
Crypto was there for me, for when you're not here, and for you to get rich.
Yes, because you have to not only save your money, which is good to save your money. If you don't really have a clue of investing, at least save your money. Once a month, my mother used to say to me, and this is after she was retired, I need you to go to the bank with me. I told her, just let me know in advance. Don't call me up the day and go, yo, I need you to go to the bank with me right now. Let me know, on Tuesday I need you to go to the bank with me. That's all I asked my mother. And once a month, I used to go to the bank because she used to put her Social Security money, because at that point, she was like 69. She died when she was 76. But she would tell me, I need you to go to the bank with me, and she would put her Social Security money and her retirement money, the check that I have now, she would put that in the bank. And when she had her retirement money, it was like $1,600 and something. It was double my money. I get like $879 a month. But that's good because that's $879 on top of my disability.
That's back then, by the way.
Right, and that was back then.
Just for inflation, that's really good.
Yeah, my mother was the shit, bro. She was a mess when she was drinking, but she stopped drinking 30 years before she died. So you never seen her all fucked up. You seen her when she was good. So she was able to look out for you and I guess I get half of her money because I'm younger. So just so that money lasts until I die, I get that money. But I think I'm even bringing that up because we're talking about money, and we always talk about money, but I'm bringing it up because it's like what you said about the crypto. My mother has been gone since 2008. And she still left something for me that I'm getting to this day while she's in her grave. Like, that shit is fly. That's the shit that, supposed to take place.
This is the greatest country in the world. It makes no sense to live paycheck to paycheck. It makes no sense to...
because when Paula died, Crystal and Tiana, they had no way to bury Paula or nothing, bro.
Yeah.
They had to go to welfare, and they was going to welfare crying, and they was fucked up in the game.
People around the world hate us because of how wealthy we are.
Yeah, and people around the world don't respect us because they're like, well, what the fuck are you doing in the richest country in the world and your motherfuckers is fucked up out here, you FBAs. But again, a lot of people don't factor in the whole Tulsa, Oklahoma factor. And somebody might say to me, motherfucker, that was in 1921. No, nigga. You don't realize it. I'm just saying, that's why I said the Tulsa, Oklahoma factor. I didn't say Tulsa, Oklahoma. Because Tulsa, Oklahoma shows us that and this is not placing blame, because I told you I'm all about accountability. Tulsa, Oklahoma shows when we always in this country, and it's always FBAs. Because we've always been the only ones fighting for civil rights, fighting for voter rights, fighting for this, fighting for that. We fight the cops. We're the only ones. There was more white people out there on the lines with us when we was out there with the George Floyd uprising than Africans and Caribbeans, respectfully. They don't come here to fucking, what I'm saying? Go out in the streets and be like, yo, fuck that shit. But the whole Tulsa, Oklahoma effect is whenever we ever took 2 steps up, we get knocked back a peg. Or vice versa. Whenever we took 1 step up, we get knocked back 2 steps. And again, let's not forget, especially even at that time, there was plenty of Tulsa, Oklahomans. They used to burn us down just